So once he got there, they just happened to get there too quick because somebody already dropped the low, and that's the problem with this whole thing that everybody's trying to figure out.
That's why Snoop Band stayed at the barbershop. Snoop Band said, like, hold on. Everybody word around Memphis, they already sent the APB out. They already said, like, yeah, they up here, they up here for Dolph. Like, this is why Raven looked and she said, like, I want them. I want them. This is why 901 Trigger Trey. But we know for a fact that Kiosha, she came back. She FaceTimed Key Glock. She told him she's done hiding. She's ready to talk. So, in all actual reality, this is something that, like, I'm glad they even exposed this, because this is something that we all know for a fact that we can really look at and be like, okay, at least she came forward and basically gave a proper statement stating what happened. She said she saw 4 black cars. She saw 4 people in the car. It was 3 people that hopped out the side door. Once they hopped out the side door, you have to understand, she ID'd blickies in their hand. Once she ID'd the blicky, she heard the 100 shots at Makita's. And this is a separate 100 shots from California. Like, y'all gotta understand, Young Dolph last situation, when you heard the 100 shots, this is a whole different, totally thing that happened. And in all actual reality, we know for a fact that it's sad that this had to happen, but Kiosha, I'm glad she came forward, but Makita Raven, she was the main one who told everybody, don't be alarmed, because only CMG getting RICO'd, not Makita's.
Exactly. And after Charleston White talked to Kiosha and got her to go down to identify the fact that Maurice's Lincoln pulled up first, that's when everything was clear. And now we get into justice for Dolph, because at the end of the day, everything that happened in the dark when they turned the lights off at the cookie shop is going to come into the light, basically, and is going to be turned back on. And they did cut the lights actually at the Makita's cookie shop. That's why they had to move downtown. So once Kiosha came and actually spoke up, they knew, okay, that place, we can't have that be there no more, because of the fact that it's too much of a 100% chance of retaliation over there.
It's too hot. Makita's Raven, they whole shop hot. 901 Trigger Trey, he keep parking in the front, right there by the door. Y'all gotta really look at what's going on, because MPD, they looking at it like, why is 901 Trigger Trey and him and all his homies study pulling up like that? And then by them sitting right there, it's making the spot hot. I always tell y'all, do not do business where you work. You have to really look at what's going on, because Maurice already said he only pulled up because Raven called him. And once Raven called him, he hopped right in the car. He ain't even put on the clothes that he said he was gonna put on for that day. He ain't put on no work clothes. He ain't put on his street clothes. He just threw on something. Once Maurice instantly hopped out the bed, hopped in the car, he pulled to Makita's in less than 5 minutes. And I know that's very quick for a person to pull somewhere to any convenience store, even a gas station, within less than 5 minutes. I know that it was traffic, and Airways is a busy boulevard. Nobody's got dropped. Nobody got sent up. So with that being said, I want everybody to really look at the people who was at the cookie shop. The cookie shop people, they know what happened.
You have to get the justice for Dolph. You have to make sure to basically make it to where everybody understands that you got to be a subscriber. You got to make sure you subscribe. And the day one subscribers know that they binge watched all the videos. They understand the whole story and why the RICO is actually something that everybody is scared of and looking at, because they just did it to YSL. He only gets a lineup, so how could he be gone for 2 hours when it only takes 15 minutes to do the lineup? He filmed the whole thing on live while Dolph was trying to call him. And that's why this whole big event, when they interviewed Big Moochie Grape about it, he even said, we just came back from doing the music video. We're supposed to do another one. But when the lady actually got into the meat and potatoes, into the conversation, the dude started looking at his way out like he tried to signal to his manager to cut the tape because it was too much. It was the questions that he already actually got asked about the marshals and everything when they was looking for straight drop because he went to school with him.
And we know for a fact that it's sad that it had to happen, but Big Moochie Grape, he pleaded his guilty. You feel me? He pleaded his innocence because he know for a fact that he know it's some guilt in what Snoop Bands did. If Snoop Bands would have never declined that call and Snoop Bands would have just shot over there to Dolph, the same person who signed him, the same person is the reason why he able to pay the females. And when he picked Shorty and them up from Memphis, y'all gotta understand, the females look decent in Memphis. But we all know for a fact that it's a lot of people sitting back looking at CMG like, hold on. These the same people who ran up on Dolph, but True the Mafia is right up under they little thing. You feel me? At the end of the day, we know for a fact everybody who played a role in this, they the main ones who sit back and look at it like, yeah, Blac Youngsta, he tried to be low key until Dolph got sent up, but we all know for a fact that he already put in a word. That's why he went to the tombstone at the end.
Good news, man. So when Cricket subpoenaed the actual conversation from Snoop Bands, he pled the fourth because he didn't want to have them search anything. He pled the fifth too because he didn't want to say nothing, but he pled the fourth because he didn't want no searches. And so what happened is that's when they came and got the whole indictment to get everything, and they found out. They asked everybody, why does everybody have Blac Youngsta's number? It makes no sense. It's because that puts them into a situation where anybody can't be trusted, and that goes to show because that's the way the rules are in everyday situations where you can't trust anybody anyways because they might have the number of the person who already did something to you, whether or not they went to school.
It was the people who was following him, and we all know for a fact that.
And when the feds accidentally let him go because of the testimony from Cornelius Smith saying it was Straight Drop that did it, they ran it on the news with the ticker tape and everything. Newspapers was printing out, they was passing it out saying Straight Drop did it, Straight Drop did it. But in actual reality, Shondell was on the run halfway to Mexico by that time. So how do you know that he didn't have no part to doing it when they saw him in the back seat as the third person in the getaway car? That two-door is unrecognizable. So the fact that when they seen exactly that seat had to go forward, so somebody was back there, and that's when they found the glove, the mask, and everything, and it was 3 of everything. So when there's 3 of everything, you can't only say it was 2 that got caught. Dolph walked into the tax place, not the cookie shop, because he said in his freestyle his CPA did $1 million. That's a clue right there that
Blac Youngsta is involved in a lot that's going on. Before we even jump into this, you can look at this for what it is.
How could he go and have a change of clothes ready in the laundromat if they saying that he wasn't there? Then who put the clothes in there? Because last time everybody checked and they saw that Maurice is a grown man, so he does his own laundry and everything like that. So the fact that he had to have been the one that put his clothes in the laundromat, which means that he was there before Dolph, allegedly. Now everything else is coming back to saying the fact that if he was running out of there and on the phone already, then they should have the time when everything was made. But just because the laundromat doesn't have cameras because they're a coin-operated business doesn't mean that what the witnesses saw from the church's chicken isn't true. The dude had on glasses, so they try to throw him out the case and say that he had glasses, he couldn't have seen what happened. But he explained it detail for detail as it showed in the footage that they told the sources to.
And we all know for a fact that the cameras from the laundromat, it pointed towards the tax place. And we know for a fact that the tax place was boarded up the whole time. But we know for a fact, young Dolph, he parked on the edge of where the tax place is. So the camera only saw part of his car. So that's why I said the footage is very vital in this case. Like, at the end of the day, we know for a fact that it's too many people who saw Maurice go in, and then we saw him change his clothes and come out. Like, Maurice shouldn't have did that. That kind of put folks on the map. That put Maurice in a jam because Maurice's name was mentioned because they saw him do what he did on that footage.
And that's why the people who own the cookie shop and everything, they part owners. They didn't like the fact that Dolph had a lot of say in what went on because he knew the people that worked at the laundromat and stuff like that. So if he owned the tax place, he pulled up in his C8 Corvette and walked into the tax place. The boarded up windows could have been a wrap on the windows, or that he knew the fact that people was gonna actually come and try to spray down the windows like they did the cookie shop. It's a side door connecting the tax place and the cookie shop. That could be how he got in from there into the cookie shop if they knocked on the door to ask him if he wanted to place an order.
And we know, in all actual reality, like, I ain't gonna sugarcoat it, but from what Mia J said, she said Young Dolph owned the tax place. And we all know for a fact that the only reason he had it boarded up because he was about to do a grand opening for the tax place, which is between Makita's Raven and the laundromat. So we all know for a fact that back Young Dolph going inside of the tax place before he went in Makita's, this goes to show that they followed him. They watched him. That's why the white car was parked back at the back of the whole parking lot. Like, in all actual reality, we know for a fact they pulled from the other entrance. The other entrance shows from what the camera panned this way, and it showed the white Mercedes pull up. It showed Big Juke already sitting right there.
And the fact that, okay, so once they had seen him when they pulled up and seen Big Juke down the road flashing the brights in the Bentley saying, okay, yeah, you at the right tax place, because what you got to understand is that the tax place did not open at that time due to the fact that it wasn't tax season yet. That's why it's boarded up. So when the dudes in the white vans looked at the GPS, it says it's a temporarily closed thing. That's what happens when it's out of season. So they didn't know if it was the right place. So they said on the walkie-talkie, flash the brights in the Bentley if we at the right entrance. Boom, that happens, right? They get out. The only reason Dolph is there is because if you really binge watch all the videos and look closely, you will see that Dolph did not park in front of the cookie shop. He parked in front of the tax place because he owns the 4 spaces that's in there, because he's not going to go and rent the community center out when he has his own 4 parking spaces to do the turkey drive and the backpack drive. That was the whole point of him coming back to Memphis, was him to do the turkey drive. He was going to do the turkey drive in front of the tax place, which just happened to be sandwiched in between Makita's and the restaurant. Key Glock and them was supposed to pull up and help set up the booth in the canopy for the music video, because the same guy, the graphic designer guy that did the album and everything, he got to come and set his computers up for the music video and the cameras up and everything.
Blac Youngsta was the main name who popped up in the indictment. But if you're new to the channel, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and then we're going to jump right into this. I want everybody to look at this, man. The feds is stating that the way that Blac Youngsta face was on the camera, you have to understand that if the camera pan and zoom, regardless of what angle that is pointed at, just like the investigators say, it's going to get a full description of everybody that was there. And everybody who was there fit the description of Blac Youngsta, Cornelius Smith, straight drop. And they already got Big Juke truck, which is supposedly Moneybagg Yo's baby mama's truck.
Exactly. And when they searched up Blac Youngsta's name, the facial recognition instantly linked his profile from the 100 shots. And that's how they knew it was the same person, because there's not two black youngsters. There's only one black youngster. And when you really look at it, since he left CMG, he walked on his own. Nobody had to fire him because there was already pressure applied to get him released. But when he walked on his own, he went back to heavy camp. Folks did their own research on heavy camp and found out it's Blac Youngsta's the only person in heavy camp. And so it make no sense. That's why we already knew that the only reason he would put the heavy camp chains back on, even though heavy camp don't have a CEO, the only reason he would put the chains back on is if he was already hiding from the CMG indictments.
And we know for a fact that from what they said, Memphis, Airways, Hollins, y'all, Hollywood Boulevard, y'all really got to look at everything. Them boys from over there, they hit us, boy. You got to really look at everybody that played a role in this.
And make sure you show the support. If you actually rocking with Dolph, put the Dolph emojis in the chat, in the comment section. Let us know where you from, if you're a fan of him, and show your support, because the cookie shop, T-Mobile got them phone records, so you already know that they linked him. That's why he was Shondale's getaway driver, is because somebody had to tell him that, and he trying to have Blac Youngsta's back, so he played his role. And when the feds accidentally let him go because of the testimony from Cornelius Smith saying it was Straight Drop that did it, they ran it on the news with the ticker tape and everything. Newspapers was printing out, they was passing it out saying Straight Drop did it, Straight Drop did it. But in actual reality, Shondale was on the run halfway to Mexico by that time. So how do you know that he didn't have no part to do in it when they saw him in the back seat as the third person in the getaway car? That two-door is unrecognizable. So the fact that when they seen exactly that seat had to go forward, so somebody was back there, and that's when they found the glove, the mask, and everything, and it was 3 of everything. So when there's 3 of everything, you can't only say it was 2 that got caught.
He instantly sat in the cut across the street by the woods in an empty field. He sat back there and he watched. He said, hold on. I was about to go in the cookie shop, but let me just pull over here and see what's finna happen. Because everybody already got the text, man. They text at least 14 people and said that it's finna go down now because this was a big event. We already know that.
Exactly. And so the thing is that when Snoop Bands was at the barbershop and everything, they interviewed the feds went right to the barbershop because that's the last person Dolph called. So when they went to the barbershop, he didn't want to lose his license, so he told them exactly what happened. That's how they found the footage and got him to release it of Snoop Bands in the salon chair, declining the calls and taking the Snapchat of him with the chain and with the PRE chain and with the guy behind him cutting his hair. But the thing is that Memphis is a small town because a lot of people say it's a small town, but it's because it's a close-knit community.
It was the people who was following him, and we all know for a fact that this is something that the examiner report is stating that Young Dolph fingerprints was on the door handle of Makita's Raven's store. You have to really look at what's really going on because the excruciating evidence in this case really leads back to CMG. And we all know for a fact that it's very sad that this had to happen, but we all know CMG, they had a verbal dispute between Young Dolph.
And when Yo Gotti's brother told, that is just a problem with Yo Gotti. If he has snakes to cut out of his whole organization in the grass, then that is his own issues. He should have never put his brother into the position to where he saw so much, to where if they asked him questions and gave him 80 years on the book, that he was going to rattle and tattletale. And that is no surprise because he's never dealt with that before. So when Yo Gotti goes back to Memphis and sees him, he cannot be around him because of the fact that he was talking to them already.
We know that Yo Gotti, he was the main one who put up the money. And this is something that we all can take full accountability and really look at. Everybody that was there, they know what happened.
Exactly. And so how could he